Good evening. Today I'm gonna explain and overanalyze how we killed Radan the first time. Our guild is best at average win mechanism, so we had to improvise. This setup requires 2 tank, 4 healer, 6 range DPS and 4 melee DPS. First thing first, put down 8 markers, 4 on each side, and assign ranged healers to stand there during Vita. You might have noticed that one of our markers is further back, and that is because we want to be 100% sure who will be hit by the Vita first, so we can heal him up. Using the decoration on the floor, we adjust where the boss needs to stand. At the start, Radan should stand on his side of the line. Once the first set of essences are out, you pull Radan to your side of the line. When the boss casts his nullifying strike on the first tank, second should immediately down and pull him to the stairs. Once the first set of orbs explodes, important to first heal the person up who will soak the first Vita damage. The tank who is not holding the boss should soak the first unstable void, since they can easily survive, plus he can survive a Vita hit if the circle is in a terrible position. The person who got the first Vita should stand in the middle of the room so he won't bother anyone, and making sure the right person gets the first hit from Vita. The 8 assigned persons just have to stand on their mark until they got the debuff. Once they have it, they should move to the melee range. Unstable void should be soaked by everyone who is not assigned to do the Vita. We like to bounce it between the edges of the stairs. The circle always bounces the way where the player's character is looking. With Void Collapse, we usually run up the stairs and use an immunity, or if you are a class without one, you should stand on the 2 tanks. Looking by yourself without the immunity is not worth in the first set of essences, since the Vita ad can easily target you with Chain Lightning and finish you. Ads are irrelevant, they should only be cleaved and fully focus the damage on boss. Once the second set of essences arrives, range should focus the Vita while melee still hits the boss. Once the Vita essence is close to the boss, that's when melee focuses it, while the tank should pull him towards the wall where the void essence came from. Same as before, the unstable void should be soaked by the tank who is not tanking the boss and kick it towards the boss. The second unstable void is also soaked by the tank, but this time the one who is holding the boss. Usually the Vita dies during the second void, and it's safer to let the tank soak it so the others can focus on spreading and none of them takes extra damage. Unstable Nightmare should stand close to the middle of the room. The first player who gets it should use defensive cooldown on it to avoid unnecessarily death. We let the same 8 persons who were assigned to do the Vita handle the Nightmare as well. When the essences are getting close to coming out, tank should stop switching the boss so he won't be immune to taunt later on. Now this part is the most interesting if you need to buy more time. Since we didn't need it, right now I don't have footage, but once I have I will link it in the description. First thing, if you have warlocks, put a gateway between these marks to make the kiting part easier for tanks, especially for paladin and death knights. First up, the boss needs to start on the skull mark. Once the first set of essences are out, slowly move towards the blue mark. Once you are at the blue, slowly move towards the moon marker so the nightmare essence won't catch you. Once you reached it, start running towards the purple mark. When you reached it, that's when you use your movement speed ability and quickly rush towards the green mark. When the boss made it to the green mark, that's when the second tank comes in. Down the boss and move towards the first gateway location. After you use the gateway, use your movement speed ability to quickly rush towards the red mark. The other tank should rush to the purple mark while you are kiting and be ready to taunt him off and do the same thing but on the opposite side. Once the last phase starts, it's pretty much just a target dumping. Only thing that is important is the bond. One of our warlock put a gateway down towards the wall, and the person who is linked with everyone should use it as fast as possible. Tank should never be healed here since the damage is way too low and they rather have low health to avoid taking too much damage from the debuff. And lastly, the Void Eruption. That's the ability that likes to kill people who don't pay attention. I advise the raid leader should yell in voice chat when the boss starts to cast it. Once he starts casting, it's better to start moving before he finishes his cast, so you will definitely avoid it. Not first casting since this part is not about DPS. And that's about it. There is a debuff that if the person is fully healed will die, but it feels so meaningless, you just don't heal that person until he is below 50% health. Important notes: Unstable Void only hits one person even if everyone is standing in it. Showing your back as a tank isn't a bad idea in phase 2 since you want your health to be low. Stampeding Roar and Windrush Totem is a good idea to use when the first tank is doing the U-turn at the first set of essences. First set of essences will explode together, so it's better to use damage reduction like Devour while using healing cooldown on the second set of essences, which will explode separately. I will post a kiting video for Raiden once I'm able and put it in the description. Well, that's it. Goodbye.